Alright, hello. Sorry it took me a minute to get started here. Go ahead and switch this to the camera. Alright. I think the angle's more or less correct. I don't know if I might have shifted it by mistake over the course of the last couple weeks, but hopefully I didn't. Okay. I wasn't really sure what to do today. So I just decided to do some painting. I've got a pile of Tyranids I never asked for. And I've been meaning to paint them for a while. So I'm finally getting around to that. However, it would not be particularly interesting to watch me just continue to chip away at the pile of Hormagaunts, so we're going to do some of the more interesting models. Gonna start with the Winged Tyranid Prime. This seemed like a fun one, and also one to try to figure out some aspects of the color scheme I haven't gotten to yet with just the little guys. As far as color scheme I'm doing, I was trying to come up with a color scheme of my own rather than just going off of the intended ones. But as it turns out, the colors I picked were like 80% of the way there towards one of the pre-existing Hive fleets, so why not? Screw it. I'm just might as well just go with it. So I've accidentally landed on painting Hive Fleet Kronos, which is actually kind of one of the neat ones lore-wise. This is the color scheme I'm gonna be going with. But yeah. Oh, let me get that a little lower. Why are you so... Why is there so much shadow there? Okay, but yeah, that's more or less the color scheme I'm going to be going with. I definitely need to get a light behind the camera. I think that would help a lot in terms of getting stuff visible to stream better. Maybe if I angle this a little bit better as well. Alright. Well, might as well just get started here. So gonna start basically just painting black over the vast majority of the body. There'll probably be some places I miss and have to go over again later, but that's fine. I'm also not 100% sure what color I'm going to use for the membrane of the wings, but might just have to do some experimenting, see what looks good. I have definitely underestimated how tired I would be of painting Termagants so quickly. Like, for all of the when I first started getting into Warhammer, for all of my issues of like Space Marines all look the same. I have never felt so bored with a faction as I have just getting through the first 10 Hormagaunts. Granted, it would probably help if I didn't have essentially 3 identical sets of the same push fit models. Like I am I believe the actual, like, individual boxes of them can at least be given some different weapon options and whatnot. But, as I've never really gone... I was never really trying to accumulate Tyranids, but they just were included in a lot of stuff. So, I kind of just got myself up to a full combat patrol of them without really trying to. So, I figured I should just finally get around to painting them while I'm in between projects. Because, I mean, I have them after all. Might as well do something with them. And once these are done, I will finally have an excuse to, if I do want to build out my Tyranids a bit, like get them to a proper, like, playable state, I now have an excuse. I now have an excuse to go get, like, some of the really cool models. Like the, I don't know if it's any good or not, but the Subterranean Assault detachment seems particularly fun. I just really like that, like the idea of playing around that design. Also, I believe it might have been a Carnifex? I can't remember exactly. Recently played against Tyranids not long ago, and they almost blasted one of my knights in one shot. So, you know, got a little bit of respect for him. And as it would happen, it turns out the Hive Fleet I've accidentally decided to be painting is very ranged heavy as opposed to the melee swarms. So, good excuse to get maybe a few of those. That could be fun. I do have a reference image open on my other browser tab that I will probably have to switch to now and then, but for the most part, the beginning here is pretty simple. And I should be able to more or less just kind of follow the same pattern and not actually have to check my reference that often. So, I think I mentioned this during the last stream, but just in case I didn't, I got a capture card finally. So, in the coming streams here, I will be doing some console games finally. Space Marine 2, definitely going to be one of them. Real excited to do another playthrough of that. I actually haven't really played it since release, because I played through the single-player campaign, And then I just kind of stopped playing, not because I wasn't enjoying it, but just because I wanted to play the co-op missions and whatnot with friends. None of them had the game yet, so I just kind of put it down so to make sure I didn't get tired of playing it before that got to happen. So revisiting the single player will be fun. I probably won't do the co-op missions on stream, just because I don't necessarily want to stream just playing with randos. But we'll definitely be doing the campaign at the minimum. I don't know, maybe dip my toes into the horde mode that got added as well. I don't know how playable that is solo, but I can give it a shot. And then definitely quite a few other console games I would like to play on stream as well. So that is stuff that will be for sure coming up. Also, Bolt Gun 2 should be coming out sometime in the near future as well. Since I played the first one on stream, I'll definitely be doing the second. I need to double check when the actual release date is, though. I will say, in hindsight, I'm not crazy about the gray primer for painting black over top of it. If only because on things like this that I can't see super clearly, like at different angles, sometimes it's hard to tell what I've already gotten. Granted, short of painting it like white, I don't really know what I could prime them in that would work better. And I don't think white primer is the right call either. Okay. I think that is the majority of the black done. There's probably some places I missed. And I'm definitely going to have to color correct a few places once I start doing the other colors, but I think that's the bulk of it. As you can see, I still have not fixed my brush situation. So we'll save that red. There's unfortunately not a lot of reference material for High Fleet Chronos. I found like one singular official image of just a regular Tyranid warrior, and that's about it. So I do have to do a fair bit of improvising for some of the colors, which is fine. I don't mind doing that, but does mean every now and then I gotta just do a little bit of experimenting to figure out how I want to do certain aspects of them. So there might be a little bit of trial and error here. For example, I'm still not quite sure what color I should use for the wing membranes. I think I already mentioned that, but okay, yeah, I already see some air patches where I didn't paint the black. It's fine. I'm gonna have to go over some of this anyway to correct some mistakes. Just gotta remember the legs, especially. We're gonna need it. Probably not very visible, but as I say over and over again, sometimes I can't do much about that. have to do some correction on that one. Kind of a hard angle to get to. I think that should be... Yeah, there's one of the things I need to check my reference for. Not really a clear answer. Maybe that should say black. We'll see. I'll leave it black on the other Talon and see which I like better. And this one's gonna be an awkward spot to reach, but... How in the world did I get yellow paint on there? When did I get yellow paint on there? Weird. At least one thing I will say for Tyranids. No matter how many, little details there are to do, you don't need a huge variety of colors. I mean, you absolutely could do it to a big variety of colors, but it's not strictly necessary. Okay. I'm not seeing anything else immediately that I need to use this red for. There almost certainly will be something, but at least for what's immediately visible, I think I pretty much got it all. Alright. Let's move on to the next color. Now, what would be the better way to do this? I think I'll do the bright red absolutely last. Let's start doing the various talons and whatnot. I definitely would not have picked blue for the color for, the various claws and weapons for this color scheme. But having actually painted it as intended, I am starting to quite like it. Hey! Sorry, I wasn't looking at chat. How is it going? What's the name of this model? This is a winged Tyranid Prime. One of the few, like, single Tyranid models I have that aren't, like, part of a bigger unit. So it seemed like a good one for painting on stream. Depending on how quickly this one goes, I also have a Psychophage to paint, which is a real big Tyranid. Well, not the biggest, but like a little bit bigger than this. Or if I don't think I'm going to have time to paint that, I might start either my Barbagants or Leapers. Or I'll just dive back into the endless pile of Hormagaunts, but I'm so tired of painting Hormagaunts. I'm not even done with 10 of them yet, and I have 29 more to go. Or 21 more to go. But okay, I think that's all the talons. Looks like all the talons. Oh, right, no, the weird hoops. I don't know why Tyranids have hooves, honestly. Like, the one thing that's, like, decidedly, like, non-insect-like about them. Nope. So, just side of these. Yeah. Okay, and then one of the things that I've seen other people doing this Hive Fleet have done is paint the tongue blue like the talons as opposed to like just fleshy colored, and I think I've decided I prefer that. If nothing else, just to break up the colors in the head a little bit. Also helps them look just a... it helps lead into them looking more alien. Not that they really need much help in that regard, but, you know. Right. Very briefly, go down to my tiny brush. Do the eyes. This is one of those places where I kind of had to get creative, because the only reference image I could find of them did not have a, like, distinct enough color to be able to tell what color the eyes were supposed to be. And the bright green seemed to, I don't know, I guess I just like the look of it the best of everything I tried. Okay. On to... Actually, you know what? Before I start doing the red... I should probably do a little bit of color correcting on the black. Now, what do I want for his weird little thumb talons? I figure out if I like it being the same or different. I think I like the look of the red better, but I think it is supposed to be the same color as the... Like, there's not a break in the chitin or anything, or like a gap for any of the exposed bits to be there, so I think I am just going to color that back to black, even though I think I like the red more. And then the reference image for the Tyranid Prime, it has this bit the same color as the rest of the claw here, so... I think that's more correct. Alright, and while I've got the black, do some color correction here on other parts where I was a little sloppy. Don't know how I did that. Great. All these bare patches on the leg that I missed. should be doing some stuff that's a little bit easier to see in a moment. Just need to correct this stuff while I'm thinking of it. Okay. I think that's looking pretty good. I did also got to do a little bit of correction on the blue. Just didn't get this foot. Okay. Now we'll move on to the brighter red. I have a feeling this is going to be where it all kind of comes together. am wondering if it would be more efficient to use the red primer that I'm paint like the same color red that I'm painting on right now, and then just doing the black. I don't feel like it would save me a ton of time, and any bits I miss. I mean, any bits I miss would be very visible, so it'd be easy to fix, but if I did miss something and didn't fix it, then that would be pretty annoying. I don't know. Something to consider. I guess I could try it with some smaller models and see how it works. I think this red is getting a little old. I noticed the other day it was extremely watery on top, but down in it was so thick it wouldn't even mix in together anymore. So I tried to break that up and add a little bit of water back in, but I don't know how well it has mixed back together, because it definitely feels a little bit shinier than it should be, which is probably from just the paint separating. But unfortunately, I don't have a backup bottle of this, so I don't have another one to open at the moment to replace it with. And even if I did, it's still over halfway full, so kinda don't wanna just get rid of it. Just gonna keep using it for the time being, and hope it's not making any sort of serious issues that won't show up until later, but I think it's okay. The extra shininess does seem to be getting cut down when I do a wash, so should be okay. So just going to go ahead and go over this now. Once again, I'm probably going to have to skip stream again this Sunday. I think my Sundays are just going to be spoken for until further notice. As soon as I know I'm going to have Sundays free again, that's probably when I'll start Space Marine 2. I just, once I start it, I'm going to be very excited to play through it again, and I don't want to only be doing it once a week. So, as soon as my Sundays open up again, that is probably when I'll start. Which won't be, like, an indefinite thing, like, it should only be for another couple weeks. Nope. Had to get rid of a bot. Sorry about that. Okay, well, it looks like Carapace on the back looks good. Start doing the head here. head, or at least the red part of the head done. Okay, now I need to get this part here. And I have something I want to try that might not work out, and I might just paint over it again, but we'll see. I'm sure this is great to watch. Trying to get all these bits in underneath the wings. Bear with me till I can be doing something visible again. So just before the tournament I went to over the weekend, I did have one more night to try and get painted to take down with me in place of one of the ones I was planning on using. And I finally tried painting it like mid-assembly. Like, I put the frame together, but I didn't add on any of the armor until after I had painted everything. And I gotta be honest, that, at least for the knights, that was a much, like, smoother way to paint them. I wish it had occurred to me to do the decals as well before assembly. That would have made that part a lot easier as well, but definitely from now on, whenever I do get more knights, that is definitely the way I will be painting them going forward. And honestly, there's probably some number of models, like even just on a smaller scale, that would help with a lot as well. Actually, I think the tip of the tail there was not supposed to be red. I'll have to fix that. Oh well, I'll come back to it. Okay. That's maybe all of the red done. I want to double check something about the front talons before I start putting red on those. Alright. Moment, let me check my reference. Well, the reference has them the same color as the talons themselves. Well, I'm gonna have to paint blue over them either way, so before I do that, let's put a little bit of red on them and see if I like it. I honestly can't tell if I like that or not. I think I will just do the blue. I don't hate the red there, but there's also not, like, sort of similar to the weird thumb bit. There's not, like, any particular place where it, like, cleanly transitions from one part of the talon to the other. So I don't really know where I would draw that line between the blue and the red. So I think I'll just do it all blue. Which also actually looks pretty good, so. Gonna have to do a couple coats there to cover up the red, but that's fine. Alright, I'll probably have to get a little bit more blue and do one more coat on that after it dries, but for now, I guess the wing membrane is really all that's left. Oh, right, no, I had the thing I wanted to try. Alright, let's double check that this color is going to turn out the way I want it to. Might be a good bit more purple than I want. Yeah, it is. Okay. So no, not that. Alright, we'll use this one. Forgot to bring chat back up. There we go. Alright, so what I'm thinking of doing is taking a little bit of red contrast here. That's a little too strong. I wanted to try to get down in the, not really ribs, but... Alright, that's not as subtle as I was hoping for. Alright, hold on. Not out of ideas yet. Okay, we'll try a shade instead of a contrast. I didn't know if the shade would be visible enough on black, but the contrast is a little too visible. So, as soon as it dries, I'll repaint that black and try again. Bit of clean up around the claws here while I'm waiting for everything else to dry. Okay. Let's try out the shade this time. I don't know if I've even used this paint yet, honestly. Okay, let's run this through here. That might be what I'm looking for. Yeah? Same thing on the other side here. Double check something here. Yeah, okay. I'll see how this looks when it dries, but... that might be exactly what I want. Alright, well while that dries, let's try to figure out what the heck I'm doing with the wing membrane. Now, what color should it be? I thought about doing the same sort of deep red I've been doing for all the, like, exposed, like, meaty bits, but... I don't... I feel like that will be too much dark. I could do something like this, which might work. I don't know. I could also do the same color I'm doing for the teeth. I don't know if that will clash with the black. I suppose I could do a blue, which would go with the color of, like, the talons. I don't want to do the same blue as the talons, but... I'd want to do it paler, and unfortunately the only pale blue I have is very bright, and that doesn't feel right either. This is tough. I guess probably I just need to start putting a color on it and see how it looks. I don't think I'm gonna make a good decision here by just like trying to picture it. I think I need to actually put paint on. So let's try. I'm not hating this. Definitely gonna need to do the whole thing, though, to see if I like it or not, though. Alright, initial thoughts for the wing membrane. Keep going or switch to a different color? Anyone have any strong opinions? Tyranids. Yeah. So yeah, this is High Fleet Kronos, which having read a little bit of their lore is honestly kind of fun. Like as far as Tyranid lore goes. So yeah, as we were curious about the discussing the one day, yeah, they can't eat chaos demons or basically anything affected by the warp. So, or well, chaos in specific. So they kind of follow High Fleet Leviathan around and just kind of like subsist off of their leftover scraps. And in return, they basically protect the other Hive fleets from anything like affected by chaos. Okay, I'm just gonna... I already know I'm gonna have to repaint the, like, bits of these wings, so I guess there's no point in being all that careful. Might as well just get as much coverage as I can then. Yeah, the combat-wise, the interesting thing about Kronos, at least compared to a lot of the other Hive fleets, is they put way more emphasis on ranged firepower as opposed to like swarms of melee stuff, which is a playstyle I could get behind. I mean, granted, that's like the lore, right? It's not like not how I would have to play them, but I feel like that works for how I would want to play them. So I'm definitely way more interested in the big Tyranid monsters than I am like just building an army of swarms. And again, as I said at the start of the stream, especially after a Carnifex nearly obliterated one of my Imperial Knights in one shot. That honestly has me excited to get a few of my own. Yeah, the big Tyranids don't mess around. Granted, I imagine you have to have, like, you can't just abandon the swarms altogether. Like, I imagine you kind of need some amount of them, just as, like, a foundation, but, I'm definitely way more interested in the big specialized ones. I think actually in general I found that's kind of where I enjoy the different aspects of 40k armies, like Imperial Guard, for example. I'm way less interested in fielding like just a bunch of infantry squads than I am like going all in on tanks or artillery and things of that nature. Same with the Tau. Like, I'm not that interested in playing most Tau units, but I would love to build an army of battlesuits. I think the only faction that comes to mind that I'm like excited about their actual infantry is Harlequins. Like, if I would ever play Eldar, I would absolutely be leaning in on Harlequins. And that's probably just I really enjoy their models. No idea how fun they would be to play or not, but and I say this knowing there's also not a lot of variety for Harlequins to pick from. We've essentially got the two characters, the single squad with like different weapon options, and like one or two vehicles, and that's kind of all that exists for Harlequins, but still. Tau would be cool. Yeah, honestly, a Tau battlesuit army is something that's been kind of on my periphery for a very long time. I think even before I started my Space Marines. So it's probably one of those factions that I will get to sooner rather than later, but I've got a little bit too much else on my plate at the moment to be considering starting any new factions at the moment. Because first, I've got to get through this mountain of Tyranids. I've got a good starting army for my Chaos Marines. I already have plans for Imperial Guard. Like, as much as I would like to do Tau, they are probably going to be one of the ones that has to wait. And honestly, after painting the squad I did to play alongside my knights, as well as the immolator transport for them, I might even look into Sisters of Battle in the future, because they also have some models that are really fun. Like, Saint Celestine is just one of my favorite models in 40k, and the battle suits are also very good. Twin shoulder-mounted railguns. Yeah, the Tau battlesuit. I guess if I make a Tau battlesuit, I'm basically just playing knights again, aren't I? Now that I think about it. Still, it would be fun. Again, no idea if it'd be good, but it would be fun. I guess if I was just playing exclusively battlesuits and whatnot, it wouldn't take me long to get enough points for at least a playable army. So, I don't know. Maybe in the same way that I've just been kind of slowly accumulating my knights like one at a time, maybe I'll start doing the same thing for the Tau battlesuits. And just eventually I will have enough to be playable. Also, I feel like Tau is a faction I don't see as often as I'd like. Sort of like right alongside with like the Leagues of Votann. Like, I, I I think the Tau get a bit more popularity than the Votann do. Like, don't get me wrong, the poor Votann get pretty ignored, but the Tau at least get a little bit more attention than they do. Even so, it's not like of all the different Xenos factions, definitely nothing like Orcs or Eldari or Necrons, Tyranids. Like, they're definitely among the bottom two in terms of like ones I see out and about. Also, they're part of the next Kill Team box, but I imagine, as per usual, we'll see actual like 40k rules for them come out a little bit afterwards as well. The new designs for their stealth suits are fantastic. I love the new designs for them so much. They look, to me, they look like they look so much better than the original. Tau get a lot of online ironic hate. That sucks. Like, I think that I like I've always said, I want every faction to be good. Like, every faction has fun to models. I never want to see, even if it's one I'm not interested in, I never want to see any of them get left behind. Oh, like more sarcastic. Ah, okay, I see. Even so, like, I feel like I do see. I feel like you're right though. I feel like I see a lot of that as well, but I feel like I see more of that than anyone actually playing Tau, which is also unfortunate. Of course, again, I also have a very small sample size, right? Like, I'm in a small area. Um, so I don't know, like, I can only say, like, what I see at, like, my local-ish game stores. And actually, honestly, even, like, just what I see locally, I don't really even see a lot of Xenos armies in general outside of, like, just orcs. Like, I think at the tournament I played at, there were 2 people playing orcs, 1 person playing Tyranids, and then everyone else was some flavor of Space Marine, either Loyalist or Chaos. Oh no, never mind. There was one other person. There was one person playing Chaos Knights because I did get matched up with them for Knights v Knights, and that was honestly that should have been a lot more of a fun matchup. I honestly just felt really bad for my opponent. Things did not go well for them. I think that could have been a fun matchup, but just the dice did not agree. Do you know what faction won? Shoot. I don't know off the top of my head, but I could probably check the, if the event is still viewable, I could probably check it. Here, why not? I'll, let me quickly see if the event is still there. Orcs. Orcs came in first, Tyranids second, third Space Wolves. I mean, honestly, that doesn't surprise me too much. Every time I've played against orcs, they seem real good. I did feel bad for the one game. The match I had Knights v Chaos Knights. That match was unfortunately so one-sided that we were done like less than an hour and a half into the round, and like 2 tables across from me, it was Orcs v Imperial Guard, and I don't think they even finished like turn 2 because of just how long that game was going. Good in Kill Team. Yeah, the Orc Commandos in Kill Team are fantastic. I still haven't gotten to play the Tank Busters yet, or the Tank Busters are the unit. The Rekka Crew, that's the Kill Team. The Rekka Crew sounds really fun, and yeah, the Commandos every time I have played against them seem also very good. And I think Orcs, just in base 40k, have gotten a lot out of the Tank Busters as well. They seem like pretty good anti-vehicle or just anti-heavy units. I'm not gonna lie, if I had the stuff to make it work, like I don't even have enough to get a 2,000 point army out of them right now, let alone be like a good army. But I would get a kick out of going to a tournament with an Imperial Agents list just to baffle everybody I play against of what the heck I'm doing. Again, I don't know that it'd be good. I would probably lose every round, but it could be funny. Because I do really want to try the Assassinorum detachment for them. That legitimately seems quite fun to play. Again, I have no idea how good it'll be, but I would like to try that one of these days. Especially now that I have like all 4 of the assassins to lean into. I do think the next time I go to a tournament, I'm probably going to take my Knights again, but as nice as it was having the Sisters of Battle there to, like, do objectives and whatnot, well, like, and just free up my Knights to focus on fighting, I don't know that they were really pulling enough weight to be worth the point cost of them. And on top of that, my detachment wasn't really paying off for me either. So I might try the Knight detachment that lets me run some like Skitarii alongside them, because point-wise, they're cheaper than running the Sisters through the Imperial Agents list. And on top of that, the Mechanicus detachment for Knights treats them more as part of your army rather than just an add-on. Like, they can still be targeted by stratagems. Even You can even put enhancements on the tech priests. So that might be worth looking into. The only hesitation there is Mechanicus generally isn't that good from my understanding, but I don't know. For the role they were fulfilling, like if they're basically just going to fulfill the same role they did as the sisters in my previous games, again they can basically do all the same jobs at a cheaper point cost. So that still is probably worth it. What does Noble Lance do that seems to be strong? So see, Noble Lance was the detachment before the Codex came out. Noble Lance no longer exists. Noble Lance gave the entire army a Feel No Pain, which I don't know why Knights had a Feel No Pain, but they did. And then the new detachments all got rid of that. The detachment I was running was called Questoris Companions, which the way that works is, so no matter what for knights, you determine your oath, which is an objective you need to fulfill and a benefit you get. When you complete the objective, you get a bunch of free command points, which, as I found out, is that is enough to turn a game around. Because if you randomize any part of that, you get 3 command points for doing it, which is huge. And the Questoris Companions detachment, once you finish your oath, you just start a new one. You only get 1 command point for each successive one, but it does mean that you can potentially get all of the oath benefits at once. So that was the detachment I was running. Unfortunately, I did not have great luck. I think I fulfilled my oath maybe twice throughout the entirety of the event. So I definitely was not getting any benefit out of being able to do it multiple times. So I'm really heavily considering trying out other detachments. And the, like I said, the Mechanicus one might actually be what I want. Not only that, but the Mechanicus one also gives me a little bit more survivability as well, because the Tech Priests can heal nearby knights. Or, no, it's that your knights... You automatically... No, I think it's more just you automatically heal one of your knights by 1 hit point at the start of your turn, and if they're near a Tech Priest, they heal more instead. But... So you still want to have the Tech Priest to do some repair, but... Or to make your healing a bit better, but they're not necessarily required. But still, just getting a little bit of repair in would not be the worst, because I knew this was definitely the failing of knights, but boy, when you lose a knight, that sure is a huge percentage of your army gone. Just losing 1. And I definitely felt that. So anything to keep my knights in the game a little bit longer. It's also funny, I was not super impressed with the Knight Lancer the first couple games, practice games I played with it. And I almost swapped it out for the new knight I got. And I'm really glad I didn't, because that Lancer put in so much work in every game. I think it was like twice. And maybe it was only once, but still, in the first round, that Lancer took out like three of the like big scary Tyranids I was up against while at like one wound. Like I knew it was going to go down, so I just tried to cause as much destruction with it as possible before it did, and boy did it cause destruction. Which is like the one downside of switching detachments is the big thing I would lose is some of the enhancements from the detachment I am running, because I do like quite a bit of those. But again, also, a couple of them didn't even come up, so... I will definitely be able to get some practice games in between now and the next tournament, so I will just have to keep experimenting and find what I like. I also learned a lot in terms of like what to expect for like just general engagement stuff, and found out there were several rules I had been misunderstanding. One of which was how towering interacts with cover, and definitely learned the hard way that I did not have the range and line of sight that I thought I did. So my Castellan didn't really accomplish much throughout the whole event. So I might be looking to replace that one as well. Possibly just with a Valiant, which is like the other knight on the same body. Because the Valiant seems really good. It doesn't have the range, and it doesn't quite do as much damage as the Volcano Lance on the Castellan. But it still seems very good for close quarters. At least as good as it can be without having good melee. That was the other thing I learned, is how bad knights are at defending themselves in melee. Which you wouldn't think would be a thing, but it is. They're really good at killing things in melee, but not so much as protecting themselves. Which is definitely a big part of why when I played against World Eaters, I got torn up pretty bad. Also, the Tyranids as well. Once they got into melee, that was kind of it for me. But I got plans. I got ideas. Just have to keep getting practice games in and see how they work out. Definitely need to pick up more knights though, which is not a small order, but I might also look at getting some 3D prints of some of the Forge World knight weapons, because, well, A, the Forge World knight kits are never in stock, and also B, they're like twice the cost of a normal knight, which if you've ever bought a knight is not cheap. So, might look at trying to get some cheap 3D prints of some of those weapons. I don't even know if those would be better than what I'm currently running, but just for some more options. Okay. That's the wings mostly done. Did see a little spot here got cracked. Alright, now gotta go with the flesh color again and fix some of the black I got everywhere. Actually, looking back on things, in hindsight, I am kind of glad I didn't do better in the tournament. Just because one of my army rules I had been misinterpreting very poorly, and was using it much more often than I should have been able to. So, now that I know that, I'm kind of glad I didn't do better, because then I would have just felt bad if I won, if I, like, did well, but accidentally cheated. So, and I've since then done a lot of research on making sure that I understand it properly now. Also, now that I properly understand how towering interacts with line of sight on cover, I have a much better idea of what knights will and won't be helpful for, like, tournament games. I would also, like, I would love to have a, oh, what are they called? There's like a third type of, or no, there's like a fourth type of knight chassis that they only sell in Forge World kits, and it's, like, ludicrously expensive. I would love to be able to put one of those on the table. Like, they are even bigger than the Cerastus Knights, which are already pretty big. But they ain't cheap. But if for no other reason than just the shock factor of putting one of those down on the table would be very fun. But that's a future... well, actually, who am I kidding? That's probably never going to happen. Much as I'd like to have one. Like, they're not as expensive as, like, a Titan, but they're still pretty spicy. Okay. Realizing I didn't do the inside of the other wing. It might be an Acastus Knight. That might be the name of the pattern for that one. I know there's two different variations of it. I have no idea which one would be what I'm looking for. Like again, they are so far outside of the means of possibly getting one. For the time being, I've not really looked too deeply into them. I feel like I'm in an endless loop with these wings. I correct the black or the flesh tone, but then I get paint on the other color. I just have to keep going back and forth over and over again. Okay, I think that's good enough. Alright, this is coming together. Need to go back to my deep red here for a little bit. Some exposed parts of the joints here that I missed. I suppose what would have been good for, like, before I painted this was to maybe get some gargoyles to try out the, like, different colors of painting the wing membranes. Seeing how my color scheme looked, but I think that still looks okay. I'm not entirely convinced by the, like, fleshy membrane, but I think it looks alright. And I could always repaint it later. It wouldn't be super difficult to do over again. Okay, get my tiny brush back again. Start doing the teeth. So I'm looking over, I don't even know, again, I don't know how visible this is on stream. I'm looking over there where I put the red shade paint. I don't hate it, but I don't know that I love it either. Let me look at the reference art again. Or, yeah, not art, just the reference image. I think I want it to just be solid black. The subtle red between the, like, gaps, whatever, in the skin, it looks okay, but I think it would take a lot more work to make it look good than I want to commit to for this many models. Because, like, once I start doing it on any of them, I'm going to have to do it on all of them to look consistent, and I think, like, just taking a little bit of red shade over it is not that hard, but I think it would take a little bit more work for it to look good. Or at least to a point that I'm happy with it. And, like I said, that is just more than I want to commit to right now. I think I also just kind of like the cleaner look of it just being black. correcting a bunch of mistakes. But this one is almost done. Did my music stop, or is it just very quiet? It stopped. Why did it stop? There we go. Don't know what that was about. Okay. Just a little bit of stuff I gotta go back to my red for. And then we can move on to the wash. Did I even get under that side? No, I didn't. Okay. I think there's a few spots I could have done a bit better. But I am happy enough with it. Which is, I don't know, maybe I should care more, but the unending pile of Hormagaunts isn't, it doesn't have me particularly motivated to spend too long on any Tyranid model, so. Yeah, I think that turned out pretty okay. Yeah, I definitely need a light behind the camera to better get a better look at stuff on stream, but alright. I'm gonna go change out my paint water so I can do the wash, and I will be right back. Alright, and we're back. Okay, get my brush. Okay. I think that's looking all right. It's looking a little shiny at the moment, but that should dull a bit as it dries. Start working on the base here. Main color on the base is done. Which means it is time for the stick. Also, I might need to open up my other bottle of this stuff. Come on. Get on the stick. I'll smooth that out in a moment. The last little bit of this does not want to come out of the bottle. It's slipping off. There we go. Alright, best as I can tell, I think this is the last of it. Which I do have a second if this is not enough to cover the base. Though this might be enough.
This is about getting there. Get a little bit more under this wing. There. I think that is about gonna do it for that. Okay. That off the handle. Okay. And that is going to do it. The terrain still needs to dry a bit, but I think this turned out pretty good. Okay. So I've got a little over an hour left in stream, which would be enough time to paint a Hormigaunt, but I don't know that that's necessarily going to be that interesting to paint. I don't know. Maybe I only think it's not interesting because I have to paint 30 of them, but either way, I don't feel like trying to like rush and get something else done for like the last hour. So I think we're just gonna call it a little early. Reminder: not gonna be streaming on Sunday because Sundays are still gonna be busy for a while. at least a couple more weeks. Then once my Sundays are back to normal again, that's when I will be probably starting Space Marine 2. But yeah, I guess for the time being, thanks everyone for hanging out. Let me see if I have anyone to raid. Looks like Loading Ready Run is playing some monikers, which is always a fun time. So I'm going to send y'all over there. Alright, thanks everyone for hanging out, and I guess I'll be back at this next Wednesday. Have a good night.